Boom.
And yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your man Jay Kev here with Leif Taylor, just having our weekly conversation about all things health, wealth, relationships, happiness, purpose, and everything in between. It's really just about anything you can think about when it comes to life. We just kind of have
It's a
conversations
new way
about
of saying we don't have a specific subject.
it. Yeah, exactly. We will start off as often as we do. We start off at one point, and then we trail along wherever our heart's desire leads us. But today, Leif, I just wanted to start the conversation off just talking about the importance of keeping a heart of hope during hard times, specifically hard times. And there's been a number of things it's kind of gotten me thinking about this word hope and this topic of just cultivating hope during hard times. And a number of them. Well, one is I was just thinking about the times. I always relate our conversation around what's going on in current events and what's happening right now. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Just so that our conversations can stay relevant and it's anchored and where the hearts and minds of people of the masses are at that point. So
Okay.
that's kind of where how I structure and start off our conversations, and just thinking about how we just had the recent transition of power, and how for some this is a great time, and then for others uh, this is a hard time. Just like 4 years ago, for some it was a great time, and for others it was a hard time.
There
So
were good times and there were bad times.
it just depends on your perspective, right? And just thinking about some of the concerns of some people and the trajectory of where some people think we as a country, we as a culture is headed. And
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So just thinking about that and just talking to some people and just having some conversations, it just brought back to the forefront of my attention of how important it is to cultivate hope no matter what is going in good times and bad times, to just always have a perspective on an expectation, a feeling of that no matter what happens or where you go in life, that all things are meant for your good. All things will work out for your good, no matter how hard uh, your circumstance may be at the moment. And the way I'm framing that is that I'm thinking about some of the writings that we've talked about in the past that I always keep at the forefront of my mind. Thinking about just recently, I was thinking about Archipelago um, by Solzhenitsyn. Oh, what is his name? The Russian writer, talking about his experience in the Gulag.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know him.
Oh, okay. Well, that's been popping up a lot. So I've been thinking about that. And then also I'm thinking about some of the other writings that we often talk about. Viktor Frankl, him, and just thinking about some other things too. And just thinking about one of the things that really sticks out in their writings, and other people's writings when they go through hard times, is they talk about the importance of framing your heart and mind with the expectation of no matter what, good will happen.
Gotcha.
Somewhere along the way, good works out, regardless of where you as an individual may end up. Does that make sense? Because
Yep.
sometimes situations don't work out for a certain
Yeah.
individual for the best, for the better. But overall, when it comes to the aggregate, and when it comes to just the way things are going, that it eventually things just end up working themselves out. So just talking about the importance of framing your mind with hope, and thinking about some of the pillars on how you build and cultivate and maintain a heart of hope. And then our conversation when we were talking before we got on, we had a conversation about uh, where you are, and with the relationship to your career and stuff. And one of the things that really stuck out to me in that conversation when it comes to remaining hopeful is that it's important to cultivate a community of like-minded individuals. It's important to really surround yourself with people who are hopeful, inspiring, and are always seeking for the good, no matter where they may find themselves currently in a situation. And it just really stuck out to me on how really that's really important when it comes to, communication, community, collaboration, and making sure that you stay strong in that area. Because when you find yourself being an island of a person, that's when things can go south real fast. We often say that no man or woman is an island, and we're not meant to be alone. And when you find yourself in isolation, when you find yourself in segregation for long periods of time, things can really turn on a dime. In saying that, I was thinking about somebody I had a conversation with, and I was just asking her about some of her experiences growing up in a socialistic society. And she talks about the importance of community during those times, and when it comes to not only just surviving but thriving. In that type of environment, you won't last too long on your own. And so just thinking about how, when we were talking, it's really important, man, to really have those connections and really stay communicating with like-minded people when it comes to maintaining a heart and mind of hope. When you get around negative people, man, it can turn you around real fast.
It wears on you quickly. And sometimes you don't even realize it that they're affecting you. You just
it happens so fast. Like you said, you really don't realize it on how powerful communication is. I'm thinking about media, and just thinking about how we all think that, oh yeah, I'm not affected by media and propaganda and some of the messages that are constantly broadcast at me. I'm strong enough, that's not affecting me. But then I always think about when I worked in a big box store, how certain people would pick up certain brands because they believed that brand, no matter what you told them, you say, hey, this brand A, comes down the same line as brand B. They're like, no, it don't, man, it's different.
I don't know.
Huh? You're like, no, man, it's different. I'm like, no, this brand has the same ingredients. Huh?
It's the same exact
product with different packaging. But because of the effectiveness of messaging and media and propaganda, we all are subject to being programmed to believe certain things, which is why it's important to have a community around you, so you can constantly have conversations that challenge you and that helps you clarify on why you believe and do some of the things that you believe and do. So that's very important.
Real quick,
some other things.
Real quick before you move on, it's funny that you're saying this because this morning I was on Clubhouse and I was in a room where it was literally talking about these very same things, right?
Really?
Literally talking about political climate, all of this kind of stuff. And so, in me being me, I told them, I was like, I'm gonna give pushback on any answer you give me.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because it's easy to dismiss something that you don't like to hear versus, something that you want to hear. And it's like, well, one person's like, yeah, the media is blah, 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 but, this, and that. And I'm like, so where are you getting your information from? Why is that source better than this source? And so on and so forth, just to make them think, on the one hand, you're bashing it, but you're actually justifying it on another just because you agree with it. And so, just really pushing back on your ideas. And that's why it's good to have other people around you, other people to actually give you that pushback that's necessary, like a mentor or something. Another example, and then I'll let you go on. I was watching an interview with Shaq. He was talking with Stephen A. Smith about James Harden, talking about, James Harden just got traded to the Brooklyn Nets. And Shaq was like, if he doesn't win, if they don't win the championship this year, it's a bust. And they're like, why would you say that? And so Shaq was talking about the first time he met uh, Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith was like, he said you play all right, but you're not great. And Shaq said, they had some words, but basically what he was telling them was that you're not living up to your potential just because you're good, and you still have yet to win a championship. He said you've been swept every time you've been in the finals, and that's not good enough, right? And so Shaq, he was arguing about it, but he ended up taking it to heart and started improving on his game. So I just wanted to throw that out there because when you said that, that's what jumped to my head.
Yeah, and that's what about what you need to hear? What about what you need to hear? Is that a question?
Yeah, what do you mean, Nika? Let us know what you mean by that so we can address it. But go ahead, Kev.
Yeah. Well, you were bringing up something important when talking about conversation and what we believe and stuff, and giving pushback and being, humble enough to take some pushback. Me and
Yeah,
you,
the
we
hard truth, you won't take it very well, but you'll take it eventually.
yes, yeah. It's a hard, hard truth sometimes. Even at that moment, you might get defensive and ego might
Yep.
pop up. And when you walk away, it's something that it's a seed that's planted that you may have to chew on and meditate on and
Yep.
come to come to some conclusions about on your own.
Yep.
So that's why it's important, like you said, to have somebody in your circle who, no matter what, is going to be, I think, what they call the 10th man. The 10th man is oh man, what is it? It's where it comes from Israel. It's an Israeli thing to where you have a group of people when they're trying to make a decision. They designate somebody to be the 10th man, and that 10th man is supposed to be the man of opposition, the adversary, no matter what. No matter
Yeah.
what the nine come up with, the 10th man is supposed to be the man that just gives opposition so that you can kind of see what needs to be honed in on. What was that again?
Yeah, I'll pull it back up. 'Cause first, yeah, I'm gonna show it just because you know who posted it when you see it.
Like it each.
So you already know who that is.
Yeah. Like you
Like,
said about what you want to hear and what you don't. That's why I asked that.
okay, yeah, she said, "What about what you need to hear?" And again, the truth is always what you need to hear.
So he's saying you need to eat chicken.
No, not at all. That's Lamar's theory. The theory on chicken. He's like Neil deGrasse Tyson when it comes to chicken theory.
It's the cure-all, man. Chicken. No matter what, the answer is chicken.
Always. It's like it don't even matter. But like is it right? Here's another. What's up, Lamar?
But let me comment on that. Lamar is hitting on something important that's part of like the 4 C's, which is cooking. Good food, good nurturing food is definitely helpful as far as one of the pillars when it comes to cultivating a heart of hope in your life. I'm on the 10th man. I'm the 10th man.
Yeah. So chicken is his 10th man theory. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, just talk about cooking and food, nutrition, and health, and how important your health is when it comes to cultivating a heart of hope. It's definitely hard to be hopeful when you're hungry. When you're not only hungry but nutrient deficient, that can place you in a place of anxiety and fear, in a place of lack. And when you're in that place, it's hard to be hopeful when you're focused on the present and how much pain you're in.
Yeah, and then also not only that, he's silly. Not only that, but even just being prepared for the hunger, right? So
Man, yeah.
if you prepare for that, then it's more tolerable than if it's taking you by surprise, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
right? You know, because there's times where you like, I'll just use fasting as an example, right? There's a difference between when you prepare for a fast versus when you just get hungry. And you may have eaten more often than you had before your fast, but because your mind is prepared for it, you understand what's about to happen, right? And so you can help curb some of the attitude and some of the frustrations and all of that.
Mhm.
So just preparing for that hunger definitely helps you with that as well. So I just wanted to say that because I know I've noticed in myself before. It's like man, it's like why is it getting to me now? When normally, like for example, on a daily basis, like sometimes only like 2 times a day, right? But if I'm not thinking along the lines of me doing it on purpose, it can catch me by surprise, and I'm like, just I ain't trying to hear nobody. You know what I'm saying? So definitely preparation with it actually helps as well. I want to go back to
Yeah.
what Ron said.
You must surround yourself with hopeful and positive people so you can feed off the positive energy versus negative energy.
Yeah, and even with that, I just want to talk about intent, right?
You
Intent
said
matters.
intent?
Intent,
Okay.
INTENT. Intent matters as well because I always, whenever I hear about feedback and things, I always think about my dude David Goggins, right? And he says some of the craziest things, but his intent is always motivation to be better, and that can truly matter as well. Because sometimes when people give you feedback and they give you energy, their intent sometimes is to tear you down, right? And it takes on a whole different connotation when they say it to you versus somebody could say like very similar words or maybe even the exact same words, but if they're intent on helping you out or making you better, then it just triggers something entirely different in your psyche. So
Oh,
intent
yeah.
definitely matters. So when I think about positive people, I think about the intent behind the words that they speak versus sometimes even the words that they say.
Yeah, definitely think. So you are always aware and open as far as discerning somebody when they're approaching you with something as far as their intent. Is that something you say we have to be?
And again, like for me, going back to what he said is based on who you surround yourself after, right?
Yeah.
Put in your circle, so to speak. Who are you getting this information from, right? Because that really matters. And if and again, the people that affect my psyche are the people that I care about or the people that I have in my corner or
Yes.
whatever. And so even if I think they're giving me bad energy, then I can confront them and we can talk about it versus so I don't have to necessarily decipher that energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's really about just that and just being comforted with your surroundings and with the people in your corner and those kinds of things that definitely helps. So you don't have to always do that, right? She said you have to always do that. Well, it just depends. I mean, for me being married, I know when my wife tells me something, I know it's with good intent. you know
Even though you might not like it at the moment.
yeah, but I'm always open to listen, right?
Okay.
And that's one of the things that we even talk about in our own discussions is that we even have it on the wall. I have like these
Yeah.
contracts that I made. When my wife tells me something to do that is for my benefit, I will not be upset, right? And I signed that, and I have one for her that when my husband tells me something that's for my benefit, I will not be upset. So that way and we signed this, so I
It's
can
in
just
writing.
yeah, point to the wall, right? Point to that contract. And so that way, it's always about building up somebody. And it's like if I'm telling you the truth and I'm telling you something that's for your benefit, why be angry about it if it's to help you? Right. And so that just helps, again, I always like to use people's own words against them in the sense of this is what you said, this is what you agreed upon, so, are you going to be truthful to your word or are you going to renege on your kind of thing, right?
uh,
Seriously.
I'm laughing because uh, Because that's what you asked me like 3 years ago before we started doing this.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do, huh? there's lots of, I'm laughing because there's lots of times to where I'd be like, no, I really don't want to do this, but then I know it's like, oh, I made a commitment, and I know he's gonna be like, well, what did you say? You said it. I didn't say it.
Hey, that's what it is. Because when think about how motivating that is versus if I'm telling you to do it, right? It's like, it's not my words, you know. So
you said it. I can go back to my drawing. I'll be all right. I'm all right.
I'll do it for you, chump.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just those kinds of things, it definitely helps, and goes back to the community word. We talk about it all the time. Talk about cultivating that tribe, that community, people, you know, because now we have the ability to, you know, because of technology and because of, you know, mobility, so to speak, as adults, you have the, you know, the ability to actually figure out what your tribe is going to look like.
Yes. I was going to say you have the ability to figure out what it's going to look like, and you have the ability to act on it in the real world. When I'm thinking about the conference that you and Leif put together or were part of in Chicago, huh?
I am Leif.
I said you and Lamar. I said you and Lamar, didn't I?
No, you said Leif, bro. I could play it back.
Well, you and Lamar. I was thinking about the communities that you built online, and then you took it offline, and how this is therapeutic. Oh man, I'm glad you said that. We appreciate that.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
You're joining in on our therapeutic session.
This is us just hashing it out, talking, open dialogue.
One of the things I wanted to go back to that you brought up was preparing. When it comes to having a heart of hope during times of trouble, you have to take every opportunity that you can to prepare and really, you know, place your, you know, do as much as you can to build up yourself before you actually go through, which means that we have to be aware of where we are now, where things are now, as far as your personal life, your family life, your community life. Then you have to think about as far as the aggregate, as far as the culture on a national, international level. You know, there's, as people say, there's levels to this. So you have to think about a lot of different levels, a lot of different areas of your life. You have to think about where you want to be and how you want to be. And then you have to prepare. So I'm thinking about prepare. And when you said that, you were making me think about my Otis has started his wrestling journey. Okay. And just thinking about how the rough times that whenever you pick any endeavor in life that you go through, but when you have the basics of having that community that's building you up, saying, you know, I know you feel like you're getting beat down now, but we're doing this. I'm giving you this whooping for your benefit. As my mom used to say, my dad used to say, I whoop you because I love you. I don't feel like it. Yeah, I'm beating you down because I want you to be better. No. But, you know, having those principles of consistency and having that mindset that no matter what, I'm going to stick to it because I know the things that I have to do in order to get to where I want to get. So, So preparing your mind is definitely important. Having a mind, what's the plan? What's the plan?
Miss Cheryl, she's asking you, what's your plan? What's the plan? You talk about planning. So just give some steps on how to plan ahead.
Assessing where you are now, and then thinking about where you'd like to be at, you know, in the future at any particular point in time, and then like we say, reverse engineer your steps toward that. You know, I was just talking about my son in wrestling. You know, you want to be a proficient wrestler, having a large repertoire of movements and holds. And it starts with one movement, and then you build on that, and you build on that week by week, day by day, until you have a large repertoire of movements that you can bring forth or act on instinctually. So that's a lot of repetition. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Said muscle memory.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of work as far as muscle memory and having things to be instinctual or reactionary or respond. You have the ability to respond. That takes a lot of work. Just thinking about when I started, for a stint, I started doing mixed martial arts with a friend, and just thinking about when I first started, just knowing like 2 moves to where you get to like a whole repertoire of moves. And I had an idea of where I wanted to be as far as being able to grapple, but I had to start off somewhere, so I had to reverse engineer it, which is what we talk about a lot. It's what you talk about a lot. We the conversation we had before we came on is talking about you knew where you wanted to be, and then you started taking the steps to now you've gotten to the point to where you see the matrix, you understand the plan. So now it's just about acting on that plan and just carrying it out and let the results speak for themselves.
So one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking was The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about those kinds of things, those triggers, and just the preparation and stuff like that. So, yeah, it just made me think about that.
Yeah. Well, that speaks to the importance of, to me, cultivating your environment for where you'd like to be.
Yes.
Whether it's your health, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your relationships, or whether it's whether you're connected to your purpose and your higher calling as far as why you're here. No matter what area of life you talk about, it's very important.
Yeah, and one of the things that helped me, just going back into some of the details of planning, is for my household, is just common knowledge of, okay, this is what we're trying to do. And this is for every individual in the household, whether it be my kids or my wife, understanding up front what their end goals are, and then going back to the accountability side of things, making sure that everybody stays on task, right? And so if you notice somebody, or even if you notice yourself slipping because you've made this manifesto, you've made this end goal, then you can course correct to get back on the path that you set out for. And that's often necessary, because there's going to be days where you don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like executing the plan or even caring about the plan. And so you have to have other people sometimes, when your discipline gets weak, they can fill in that gap for you. So that's always a good idea. Miss Cheryl mentioned, vision boards and journaling. Those things just help you stay focused. One of the things that, when it comes to like a lot of people, always got to mention a business thing. When a lot of people talk about business plans, what they fail to realize is that the business plan is more important to you than it is to anybody else. So don't be so worried about the structure of the business plan, as long as you internally as a team and as a group or whoever you're working with understand what the core mission is. And that's really the focus and the purpose of a business plan, so you can make sure you're executing. A lot of people think about it in terms of just getting money or getting a loan from the bank or something like that. But ultimately, if it fails you, then it doesn't mean anything to any of those other people. So really, I don't care if it's just something on a whiteboard or just a to-do list in terms of what your mission is going to be, as long as you internalize that, because your why has to be extremely huge to keep going when things get rough and things get boring, monotonous, or whatever. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well.
Yeah. Your why, which speaks to the importance of your vision board and goals and stuff like that. Just thinking about your why is definitely important. And it's something that's simple, but keeps you on the right course, and it helps you course correct when you get off track. When you were talking, I was thinking about, my why, as far as just thinking about health and how I've gotten off track, and then I always go, and then just thinking about the why of, hey, I want to be, in my 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, still able to just, move around, be functional, functionally fit, just be able to just do what I please when I please, uh, avoid having to visit the hospital as much as possible. So that's my why for maintaining good, decent health. So when I get off track, then I think about that. It's like, oh, I can't afford to stay off track. I can't afford it. So I have to go make sure I course correct and maintain and stay on the right track when it comes to my health.
Yeah, that just made me think about my grandfather. Shout out to Grenady Bop. I know he don't watch. He's not on Facebook, but one of the things that he's like 94. He still drives. He still does pull-ups.
Pull-ups.
One of the things that I've noticed that he does. I don't know if anybody else picks up on it in the family, but he limits how much he eats a day. And I've noticed that, like, you'd be like, yeah, you want something? You'd be like, no, I'm good. I've had enough already. And so I've noticed like his habits over the years. He was in his 80s, like he could kill pull-ups, like straight up. Like I'm not even joking.
Wow.
But it's just that kind of stuff, just the discipline. And the discipline doesn't have to be so arduous or anything like that. And really when I think about him in particular, is that he's really simplified his life to where the things that he needs to do is not out of the ordinary for him to do, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
But sometimes we get so busy, because we were talking about this earlier about, being focused. Sometimes we get so busy doing a lot of insignificant things that when it comes time to do the things that really matter and the core things, that we don't have enough energy or discipline left to carry that through. And so, it's the old cliche of make the main thing the main thing. And, with journaling, with vision boards and all of that, and sometimes maybe you even need to revise your revision board, your vision board, right? Is make sure that those main core things are there, and make sure that you've really thought about what those main core things are, because sometimes the things you're trying to achieve aren't really valuable to you in the long run or even in the short run. So you're just chasing something that's very fleeting because you have no passion or care for it to begin with.
Yeah, and that's why the why is very important. It helps you, chip away all the excess. Jotting down notes every time I come here. Really? Well, we definitely appreciate it. I know Leif appreciates it. Probably jotting down his words, skipping over mine. It's okay though.
He's like,
just kidding. Yeah. Well, that's all I really got, Leif. Just wanted to come on and just have a conversation about cultivating hope, a heart of hope. I was thinking about Martin Luther King too. It just hope and just how important it is to cultivate hope. That's one of the things that kind of kept him on track. Looking to a brighter, a better future than where he was now. So when you have that in your heart, man, and when you let that anchor you, it can help you get through some tough times. Word wall. Yeah, I did. I did hit a word wall.
One thing that, again, this morning, because I had a weird sleep schedule last night. Like I fell asleep at 10. Like I had to fall asleep. Like fell asleep at 10 and woke up at 3. And so I was just up. And so anyway, I was in a group and we were talking about hope, right?
Today?
Today.
That's crazy.
A great topic. And because one dude is funny, Lamar talked about chicken, because one guy was like, because everybody was talking about, all the bad stuff. And he was like, so I guess we're just all fried chicken, right? And I was like, not me. I was like, I'm not fried.
I'm fried quinoa.
Exactly. But we were just talking about being purposeful. Kevin.
I'm fried iceberg lettuce.
So we were talking about being hopeful and just how you have to be purposeful in that, right? Because if you start focusing so much on the bad stuff, there is no way you're gonna have any kind of hope or at all. And just you could hear it in some of the people's dialogue by the way that they thought. And it's really a miserable way to live, in terms of just seeing the doom and gloom and everything. Is your head stays on the swivel, you get no rest, because you always think the worst is about to happen. It causes anxieties and depression and all of these other things. So you want to be very careful about the words you speak, and
Man,
and how it affects your outlook on life.
oh man, you said a mouthful right there. As far as your words, they are very powerful. In that the words that you speak to yourself is helping program you and helping you stay wherever you. It helps
Right?
you. It places you in a feedback loop. So you have to be aware of that as far as the words you speak. And like you said, and I just want to touch on doom and gloom. We all know that it's important to be aware and acknowledge
Yeah.
doom and gloom. Doom and gloom is real, and we don't want to be so positive that we say, oh, doom and gloom.
Right.
It's like no, it's like
At all. I said we're not flippant about it at all.
right. It's like yeah, it's doom and gloom, and it's getting real out here. The struggle is real, but we want to stay hopeful and prepare as much as possible, so that we can get through as much doom and gloom as much as we can in the best way that we can.
Yeah.
Some people ain't gonna make it through the doom and gloom. That's just the reality of it.
It's every day. Some people just don't make it. I mean, I'm literally, I thank God every day that I'm alive, like straight up. So
Gratefulness and thankfulness. That's something that's continually at the top of our conversation list, and how important it is when you cultivate a heart of hope, to think about the things that that we are grateful for. Family, friends, food.
Straight up, that's it. And again, everything else is just extra. To be honest,
Gravy. Yeah.
the way I look at it is like, a great day for me is hugging my wife and kids. That's everything else is extra. And
When
and
when
so
when you, when you said hugging your wife, you made me think of the other F, frisky.
but no, seriously, I'm just keeping it just basic, just
That
in
is
terms,
basic.
just the freedom to be around them, the freedom to just have them, in my life. And and I tell my girls, like, I definitely, it's one of the bright spots of my days, right? Yeah, exactly, Nika. Just the little things.
The
And
little
because
things.
you start valuing those things, then life truly becomes much richer. And a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, like I said, that you sweat, it's not even worth caring about sometimes. So you eliminate probably 80% of the doom and gloom just by that outlook alone. And then the other stuff, like I said, is just extra. It's like, okay, if you need to work, you need to find work, and you need to, pay bills and all of that stuff. That's fine. But when you start cherishing the things that you actually have now, it's not as ominous, right? I remember, and I constantly go back to this when we talk sometimes. I remember in 2009 when I knew that I was about to get laid off. I knew it was coming, because anytime an organization starts laying off salespeople, your job is not secure. And so with that, I told my wife, it's just like one of those pivotal moments in my personal life, and I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm not sweating it. I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I was like, if we lost every material thing we have and we still have one another, what have we lost? Right. And then not only that, but just looking at the perspective of, the Thai tribute, if you did it before, we can do it again. Right. And so this was kind of my mindset, is like, even if I don't get beyond where I am, I at least know how to get to where I am. Right. And
Yeah.
so I can always find the way back to this state in life. And that's just my outlook and my perspective. So a lot of the things that, that stuff just doesn't bother me. The financial things and all of that. The turmoil that could happen, because I know I have enough friends, I have enough family to help me out at least a little bit, at least enough to and I have, barring anything that happens to me getting hit in the head or whatever,
Right.
and it's like I still have the same knowledge, I still have the same information, and that's not to say you don't get frustrated or anything like that, but the reality is, the path now. I know the path to make it to this age. I know the path to do what all the things that I've done, so I can just repeat those same steps. And so that's kind of the way I look at it. And again, just the perspective on just the little things and enjoying those things, and not letting the media that we talk about, or just other people's expectations and all of those kinds of things, get in my head and make start piling on extra anxieties and extra stress. then
Yes.
then it becomes very tolerable, right?
So
It's like,
mitigating and
yeah,
managing media is definitely essential in today's
yeah.
world.
And just people, I won't even say people, your own. I'll say eliminating and mitigating your own expectations of what you think people are expecting of you, because sometimes that's not even real. The people in our head are just thoughts in
Yeah.
our head, and it's not even real. So just that as
Yeah.
well.
You made me think of, I always talk about Dr. Snipes, that I watch on YouTube, and that's one of her presentations, talking about managing the inner critic
Yep.
and that inner voice, and keeping that voice at bay, and dealing with that inner voice that sometimes can make you feel like, what's the word? Um, what's that word? Make you feel like that you're not real. You know what I'm saying? That you're not.
Imposter. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
imposter syndrome that sometimes people may have when it comes to just anything in their life. They may feel like they're not qualified or up to, or
Right.
not deserving of a certain position or title or whatever. They might feel like an imposter. And then also on top of that, like you said, the inner voice, the inner critic that says that you're not good enough, or I don't think this is going to work out. You need to just call it quits, hang up the hat or whatever. So just, yeah, it's very important that you manage your own expectations, and then manage and mitigate the expectations of others, and manage your own expectations that you may place on
Yeah.
other people, and understand that other people aren't going to handle certain things the way you will do it, and just letting people be who they are. That could definitely relieve you of a lot of headaches.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Trying to control other people is hard. Controlling yourself is hard enough. Why, controlling other people makes it way
it's
worse.
not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So anyway, if do you all have any questions or comments before we start wrapping things up? We want to give you guys an opportunity. What's up, Miles? How are you?
Hey, Mouse.
I think I put this up earlier. I'm not sure, but Nika said you can build again together. Yeah,
Yeah,
and again, the same people, and this is, and so when she said that, it just made me think about just beyond just my wife and I, but just this is the reason why you want to treat people well, like period.
yeah. You never
And
know.
you never know when you'll need somebody, or you never know who you can help as well, right? And sometimes you have to treat people well that don't treat you well, and it's for your own benefit in the long term. And whether you believe that or not, it really does turn out that way.
So you
Especially,
saying I can't hold on to grudges and stuff? Is that what you're
I
saying?
mean, you can. It'll eat away at your heart. It'll eat
Okay.
away at your soul. Like a lot of stuff. Like some things I literally just let go. And that's not to say I've never held a grudge before at all. Uh,
Right.
but but I've come to realize when I was doing that, the only person who was really hurting was just me, and even my relationships because of those grudges, right? And so it's like it's not even worth it. I personally try to keep a short memory on those things in terms of the feeling, and it's not to say I keep a short memory in terms of if somebody's
Right.
snake or
Right.
whatever. I'm gonna remember that, but I'm not gonna have the
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 emotional response.
yeah, I'm not gonna hold on to that. It just doesn't benefit me. It's like, oh yeah, he tried to get away, he tried to rob me or whatever. It's like, okay, I got
Like
you.
it's a snake in the grass right there.
Yeah, it's like okay, I see them. It's like, and if that person doesn't change their behavior, then I can still identify them as that. If they change, then maybe there can be some reconciliation or whatever. But I'm not gonna hold on to those grudges that affect me, right? That affect my family, that affect the way I treat other people, right? And so you have to be aware of that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Man,
Never,
that,
that's
that that's become that's becoming a harder thing to do these days with these masks.
Smile with your eyes, man. You got smiles, Kevin. Smile. Man. So,
Sometimes I might want to do the fake smile. You know, the fake smile where your eyes don't change, but your mouth does.
yeah, they know it's not real. Then that
Yeah,
that's so true, Nika. It definitely helps. Just good energy helps people. You never know how that'll affect somebody, and even in your own household, it doesn't have to be strangers. A lot of times we attribute that stuff to strangers. It could just be in your own household, smiling, at your siblings, at your, whoever. Smile with your eyes. But yeah, so it's just little things in life. The older I get, I reflect on that, and I realize the value that I have because of those little things. Journaling, we talked about that. That helps. Uh, what else do you do, Kevin, in terms of like keeping track of gratefulness or maintaining gratefulness? What are some of the things you do?
meditation every morning. And when I say meditation, is just simply getting up and just giving myself a few moments to just be in the here and now. I
Yeah,
always look at the I always look at the sun coming up. It's just,
yeah. I
I mean,
noticed your. I knew you was gonna say that because you post those pictures a lot. Yeah,
yeah, it's just I don't know. I can't remember when I started it, but I've been doing it for a while now, like years now. It's just one of the things I do. It's just become habit now. Just being, taking those moments to be grateful about that, and good food. Um, man, good food goes a long way. Good food, and then connecting, uh, conversation, prayer,
yeah,
and conversations. That's definitely something that keeps me grounded. And then exercising and going to the gym. That's that's something that always is a part of me staying grounded and staying connected. Um, Friends, talking with friends, conversation, collaborating, and connecting. That's something that helps. Always laughing.
yeah,
I don't think there's. I don't know, man. I know what it's like to go through a period where it's just like doom and gloom. And
yeah,
then after coming out of that, it's like I made this switch and I started implementing all the stuff that we talk about. I started implementing that and making it habitual to where even
yeah,
if I wanted to stop, I really can't. I would have to make a focused effort to stop. And ever since doing that, it just keeps you out. Ain't too many situations I could be in where I ain't laughing. I
yeah.
could be in a I could be in a hostage situation and still and still probably find a way to just laugh. Like, man, you gonna shoot me with that
It
for
made
real?
me think of the new Joker movie where he has a note that says, "I can't help but laugh."
I ain't
uh,
seen it.
yeah, oh man, yeah. Anyway, it just made me think of that. Like he would laugh at the worst things because he couldn't help. Uh,
Yeah.
Miss Devon, how are you doing? She
Oh,
said,
hug on my kids, checking in on my friends with calls and not just texts. Wow.
"Yeah,
She went the extra step and just made the call. A lot of people just want to text nowadays. But that says a lot when you make that call.
yeah, I'm a texter. I'm a texter a lot of times, but if it's so what the only time I normally do calls is if if it's something that's going to be stretched out.
Yeah.
So because in terms of casual conversation, I'm not a good casual conversation person. I'm just not. I have to have a purpose. I have to have a reason. And like problem solving, I could talk for hours on that. Or specific issues, I could talk for hours on that. But if
But
it's
not
just
just
like
shooting the breeze.
I can't do it, it's like I have like a block. I have a word wall when it comes to that. So that's where my word wall kicks in. It's like just casual conversation. It's like even when I talk to my mom, I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Okay, good, great, love you."
In your head, you're like, what am I doing? I could
Yeah,
be
it's like
doing something else.
yeah, it's almost like talking to little kids on the phone. It's like those are the worst conversations. They don't ever have nothing to say because it's always what you doing. All right, put your mama on.
Yeah.
So just like little stuff like that. So you're a good one, Miss Devon. If it's like I said, problem solving, I'm good. But casual conversation, I'm the worst. It can't be a hazard. They
Be
kill me.
hostage. They kill me soon. They can I get some food? I'm like, no, you gotta her, man.
Like we just started this.
Well, I think we're gonna be here for a while. You can give me some food at least.
Bathroom breaks or something. But
Like, just let him go. Get him out. Get her out of here.
it's like not even worth the stress. It's years for shooting somebody. Anybody else got any comments or questions before we wrap it up? We're getting into the casual phase, and I'm not good at that. So Kevin's like, I already hit my word while, so whatever's whatever.
Whatever's whatever.
So yeah, but if you guys don't have any other comments or questions, then we definitely appreciate your time. We appreciate your feedback. We appreciate you just adding to the broadcast. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Two shot guys at the mic, just here having a conversation about um, a heart of hope, and just how important and essential it is to really be mindful of that and cultivate that in your life, especially in today's world and time. Given that there's always so much going on, but we do go through ripples and waves of where things intensify and then relax. So I do feel like that we're going through. I mean, how can you not feel like it right now with 2020 and then 2021? We are definitely in an intense wave of just lots of craziness and stuff going on. Just looking at some of the statistics and looking at the numbers across the board, no matter what area of human endeavor you look at, things are just happening. So whatever your perspective is about that is one thing, but things are definitely happening. And just looking at the conversations on the internets, it's definitely essential that everybody, that you take whatever opportunities that you can to stay hopeful and stay content, stay calm, collected, and stay just aware. Be sober and anchor yourself for the troubled waters that we are
in. This is kind of just out of the blue, but when she put pendulums up, it made me think of when I was a kid, and I like so is the sands of the hourglass. These are the days of
the
my life.
ease of our lives.
Whenever I heard that, boy, I dreaded it because that meant
I
I
did
had
too.
to be with my mama. I hate soap operas to this day because of that. Thanks for the memories, Miles.
Yeah, especially when I was trying to get something during that time, I'd be like, "Mama, mama, mama, mama."
Oh
It's
man,
always something to learn. You just have to want to learn it. That is definitely true.
that's definitely
Yeah,
true.
having that desire to learn is definitely important to have.
Said forgiveness.
And forgiveness. Oh my goodness, forgiveness. Being able to, just like you said, let go, and not hold that initial emotional response to an offense or to the offense that has you jacked up about a certain situation.
And so, and that goes back to me in terms of what I was talking about in terms of emotional responses and holding on to that stuff. I try to let it just slide off my back as quickly as possible so I can move on. Because I just know how it's gonna affect me long term, and so that's and you have to work at that. That didn't just happen.
Yes.
Some people, yeah, some but that stuff doesn't just happen. You just have to work at that, and really one of the ways that I do it is just stay focused on my mission, and just by sheer volume of information I'm taking in, I don't have time to remember some of that stuff. So
Some tactics that I learned over the years is somebody told me to pray for the goodness, the well being of somebody if somebody offends you.
right,
Um, so that was
yeah,
one
that's
thing.
hard. Yeah, that's hard too.
It is
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, it's definitely hard. I've done that as well. It's definitely hard.
Another
And
one somebody told me was to write down the offense and just let yourself go through the emotional response and just get it out on paper.
yeah, that's true because it diminishes a lot of the whatever it is.
Yeah,
Same thing with fears. Even if you write your fears down, it diminishes the fears as well.
yeah,
So people act as if being emotional is a bad thing. Yeah, we're always emotional, whether they acknowledge it or not. That's just part of it. Logic, even the most logical person has emotions attached to it. They just sometimes just don't acknowledge their emotions, which makes it toxic at times. So,
yeah. Unless you're in a category of a
social,
psychopath.
yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, sociopath, psychopath. Yeah, some of those they're just void of
They
feeling.
yeah, they don't have it, so they have to mimic what they see, how they see other people act.
Those are they can be dangerous, not always, but they
Right,
can be dangerous
right.
because of
That's a discussion for another day as far as psychopaths, sociopaths, and
yeah.
what kind of what they serve as far as when it comes to society and culture and how they can be useful.
Yeah, I believe anybody can be useful. Because just because somebody's avoid of emotional responses doesn't make them inherently bad.
Right,
Uh, because again, at the end of the day, when we started, when everybody, this is everybody, emotional, not emotional, whatever, you start recognizing your choice in any given situation, and you choose to do what's right or what you perceive to be as right, then that affects us all. Whether regardless of how we take on emotion or take on any given information, if it's our choice to choose to do certain things. So yeah, I'm in agreement.
you have to show when to show. You have to show when to show those emotions. You have to know when to show those emotions. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah. Emotion management is, as I say now, the term is emotion IQ.
yeah, yeah.
Being able to, yeah, that's very important today in today's world, and it's going to increasingly become even more important as we go into this new age. I believe, as far as the way society is being skewed and the direction we're going. People who are very well aware of their emotions and their emotional state and how to manage them and how to communicate them. That's increasingly becoming an important commodity in your even career, and also in your personal life too.
Emotional intelligence, and also just to touch on that from the flip side, uh, and again, this is I'll just use my personal opinion on this. Uh,
Hmm.
just make sure that I personally I don't see anything wrong with emotions or showing emotions or anything like that. Sometimes it's business etiquette that they utilize to dictate these things, and sometimes business etiquette they try to make void of emotion so they can do horrible things. So always keep that in mind as well. Sometimes the emotional etiquette that they try to implement is more or less a form of control as opposed to anything else. So I just want to throw that caveat in there as well. Just be aware of why you're
Yeah,
controlling
environment.
emotions
Yeah.
and the reasons. And again, emotions are good because, on the one hand, people talk about passion, but they don't want you to show the passion. So just always keep those things in mind as well when we're talking about this kind of stuff. So EQ,
EQ is the same as being mindful.
EQ, most. I don't know what EQ stands for.
Emotional IQ.
Oh, okay, emotional IQ, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So yeah. Uh, so there's no other comments. There might be. I don't know. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. But yeah, again, once again, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for chiming in. Two shy guys and a mic. Signing off.
Peace.
Time one more time. And I probably need to put some lotion on my fingers when I do that. But all right, emotional quotient. Thank you. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Peace out, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Peace out.